All right. So, Wizards of the Coast had their kind of, I would like to call it their E3 presentation. I know they're not a video game company, but for all intents and purposes, it was an E3 presentation where they kind of showed off what they're doing in the next year for both Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. So, we're going to look at that, talk about what they're doing over the next year, and have some speculations on what's going on with Magic the Gathering because, ooh, things are getting juicy. I'm your host, Isaiah, and welcome to Locked Loot.
We do not plunge headlong into folly on the orders of a single madman. Deploy the garrison! He's got nukes.
You're the last boots on the ground.
Position standby for defensive fire.
Jedi. Like my father before me. Ding, ding. Vex on the field.
Attention on deck. This channel is now under military control.
All right, so I think we should get started. Well, wow, I'm rushing right into things here. So they talked about Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and the future of both when they did their yearly presentation and what's coming up. Both of them were pretty exciting, but I think D&D will take the least amount of time and we'll just go through it very quickly because honestly, there's been some interesting developments in the community that I think will affect what they're releasing. And because of that, I don't want to like go and this is some of this is not. All right, so let's just look at upcoming releases first. So the first thing that they're releasing is going to be Dragonlance, both a book and a game. So it's interesting. Shadow of the Dragon Queen Return to Kairin. The book will not offer new Dragonlance story. It will offer new player options that help immerse yourself in a unique setting. I'm taking that right off their site. So it's interesting because they're trying to tell a war story and they've integrated a board game that they're releasing into the Dragonlance setting. And I've heard a lot of people really excited about Dragonlance. I think it'll be an interesting, definitely an interesting step forward, and people are happy to see the return of this. I haven't I haven't had a lot of experience on Dragonlance, but even I'm excited to get a hold of this because I'm like, Dragonlance, when they're talking about it, they're like, yeah, it's this World War II war story. There's so much into it. It's going to be a different style of campaign, and I can't wait as a DM to check it out and as a player to be able to play in it. It'll definitely be interesting. The next thing they said would be they announced release wise was Spelljammer, and we've known Spelljammer's coming. Spelljammer is great. It's about time the setting came to 5e, and it's really nice because it's a space adventure, or they say it's a space adventure. I believe it's a space adventure, but they use what is it, the astral plane, which is like the seas between worlds. If you're a Magic player, and I'm already bored you, it's essentially the blind eternities. So I can't wait to have that fun. And of course, Drist is gonna have a release again. Back to Drist with a webtoon, which will be interesting. D&D's going to Japan. As far as books scheduled for release, we're just going to talk about the release schedule because I think things are coming. So you have Keys from the Golden Vault. I think this is going to be interesting because it's a heist book, which means it could be a campaign book. I honestly think it'll be a bunch of like self-enclosed heists that you could easily adapt. So as a DM, if you want to have this like heist moment for your players, definitely like check out Keys to the Golden Vault coming out in the winter of next year. Well, okay, their scheduling release window is really weird. So it's winter 2023, so January, February, March of 2023. Enjoy your heist. Big B presents Glory of the Giants. I think it's going to be an update. I think it's going to be update similar to Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, where they're updating the giants to adding new variants, adding ways to play them, explaining them more so that as a DM you have more power. As a DM who wants to play around with giants, check it out. Of course, Fandelver. Everybody knows Lost Mines of Fandelver. It's really exciting to see this one-shot get a full campaign. Well, not a one-shot, but a starter campaign get a full campaign around it, which is really nice. Book of Many Things. New player and DM options. I feel like this is where we'll see a lot of the changes that are coming in 5.5. We'll talk about that in just a second. We're gonna see them play tested, a few of them, and see those options in there. And then of course, Planescape, Multiverse Beyond, everything you need to do just for that. One other thing they announced that they haven't really put on here all that much, is the rules for 5.5, which I think they're just worried about releasing a 6th edition. They said it'll be backwards compatible. That's true, it probably will be, which is why they're not fully. They're trying to test things and how the community will respond to things as far as getting ready for 6th edition. I feel like 5.5 they're testing, and the fans have already had a interesting thoughts on this. So one of the things they did is they said monsters can't crit anymore, and all the DMs said, "I'm going to ignore that because what's the fun of D&D if you're like, yeah, they can't crit, you can't do this." It's like, no, don't tell us what we can't do. We'll just homebrew it at our table if you do. So it's got a bunch of other rules, and I'm going to be getting into it more at another time. You'll want to actually keep a lookout because I won't be doing it on Locked Loop. I'll be doing it on Game Master's Arsenal. So you can check that out. It'll be out in a little while. I just need some time to read through it and fully understand it all, and I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit with some players. So yeah, keep a look on Game Master's Arsenal for that. I'll have links in my description. That's all on the D&D front because honestly, we're here to talk about Magic. Um, because there is going to be a lot big moments when it comes to Magic. So we are entering into the Phyrexian arc, which is big. We've been waiting for the new Phyrexians to make their move ever since Scars of Mirrodin. Let's go through just the release schedule. So the release schedule for the not schedule, but the new set releases that are coming up is of course Dominaria United. They're already showing that off. We'll do a full set review later, so we're not going to get into it too much. But we already got a big hitter of a moment when they revealed a Johnny Sleeper agent to us. And another one that's kind of been ignored is a card called Extinguish the Light, or art called Extinguish the Light, that was put on after that. After that, we get the Brothers' War, which is supposed to be taking place back in Mishra's and Urza's war over Dominaria. I think that'll also be interesting because, okay, so yeah, so they're doing just a standard release for Dominaria United, but it looks like there's going to be 2 different commander decks when it comes to Brothers War, with the Urza's Iron Alliance and Mishra's Burnished Banner, which are going to have some different things in them. Let's see. Anniversary promos, what else? General things. And then we get into something that's going on at the very end of the year. Well, not end of the year, winter of 2023. We are going into Phyrexia, All Will Be One. So we get to see New Phyrexia. We're going to be able to see how New Phyrexia has changed. I think that's when they're going to introduce Elish Norn, and the full arc's actually going to come to be revealed. The next one is, of course, March of the Machine, which is going to be the culmination of this arc. And if I'm just blasting through this really quickly, it's because I'm going to be spending the rest of the episode kind of talking about my predictions for this. After that, we have Aftermath, then the Wilds of Eldraine, and the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And then, of course, they showed off D&D Beyond, D&D Beyond, sorry, Magic Beyond, which is a bunch of sets that are supposed to be taking place outside of the standard Magic the Gathering story. First of all, we're remastering Dominaria, so we're going to see a bunch of different older cards come back. Arborea, they showed off a cool new Force of Will and the older arts. I think that's going to take place that's going to be our master set, is a Dominaria remastered. On top of that, they showed us a little bit of the Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. I don't know how I feel about that. Probably when we get closer to it, I'll take a closer look at it. But for right now, I'm going, yeah, It'd be cool. It's definitely gonna fit, and I like Tolkien's work. I really like Tolkien's work. I just don't know if Magic the Gathering is the best place to do it justice. First, we've got Warhammer 40k, which has some cool soul rings that are coming out in it, and of course, Doctor Who. Secret Lair, of course. Okay, let's go through these one at a time. So, and this is going to include my personal belief here, not personal belief, but my predictions. I'm going to be predicting kind of what's going on and where we go from here. Dominaria United comes out, and that's going to story wise. So these are my predictions for the story going forward. I've been doing a roundabout way of getting to that sentence. I don't know why I'm struggling today. I think it's because I don't have my rubber ducky. Well, I'm kidding, Chris, the person that I usually talk to when I'm doing this, and he helps out with it. So, Dominaria United is going to have a lot of stuff in it. It launches September 9th. We're seeing a lot of stuff. Honestly, story-wise, I haven't read through the Dominaria story. I think we lose. I think we're on the verge of loss when we go into Brothers War. We can't win. There is no way to win. Sleeper agents, all of that. Yeah, we don't have. They shut off some cards. We lose the Weatherlight. We lose a Johnny. Planeswalkers are in danger. I think Jaya and I think a Johnny becomes a sleep. Of course, is completed. I think Jaya dies, and then we go into Brothers War. And the Brothers War will reveal of course, it'll reveal how to defeat them. Our avenue to success. Going back into the history, we'll see a bunch of cool artifacts out of Brothers War. Either reprints or new ones. So I can't wait. Brothers War's gonna see some cool artifact shenanigans. A friend of mine was we talked about this briefly, and we're like, oh, it's another year of artifact sets. And yes, it's another year of artifact sets. But I think it's also another year of infect. We'll see how to win. We'll see how Urza defeated Yawgmoth initially and Phyrexia. And I think we'll actually find a way to destroy the Glistening Oil. And that matters. That matters a lot, because finding a way to finally defeat the Phyrexians once and for all. Right then, we go into Phyrexia. All will be one. Like I said, I think we lose Dominaria. I don't think Dominaria is fully destroyed. I think it gets cut off in some way, or it gets completed. But where Phyrexia, all will be one. Honestly, this is interesting because it's not called New Phyrexia. It's not a new Phyrexia set. It's just a Phyrexia, all will be one. So the battle will heat up. I think they start moving on to other planes. We see the Phyrexians gearing up for this war. We see Elish. This is where we're going to get Elish Norn, is in Phyrexia. I think this is where we get Elish Norn. I think they discover like the old Phyrexians, some old Phyrexian stuff. Kind of realize the difference between the two, because there's a huge difference between the two. So Phyrexia will be interesting. I think it'll take place mostly on Phyrexia. I don't think they're going to be jumping around to a lot of planes. They try to keep these like one plane per set. I think that's smart. And then of course we go into March of the Machine, which is when they start invading. It looks like, and I'm just looking at the art here. So you look at the cover art and you see a few different things. You see, it looks like Theros. I want to say that's Theros on the left there. Like when you look at the art for this set, if you look to the left, you have Theros. Those are definitely like Greek inspired signs, or Roman inspired. Right? You have Kamigawa. Japanese architecture, it looks like that. And then you got Elish Norn, and interestingly enough, you have Hedrons. Yeah, Hedrons. So either Zendikar is going to be involved, or I think honestly, Zendikar is going to be involved, but I don't think it'll be involved in the way that we think. I don't think the Phyrexians are going to conquer Zendikar. And guys, can we stop pouncing Zendikar? I mean, they just got slammed by the Eldrazi. Then we had the events of Zendikar Rising, and now Phyrexians. Then you have March of the Machines, the Aftermath. Honestly, I think Aftermath. I think we will win in March of the Machine. I think we'll win. In Aftermath, though, I think what'll happen is I think in Aftermath we'll like it's stamping out the invasion in these various planes. So you'll have like some Theros stuff where we're stamping out the Phyrexians in Theros. We're stamping out the stuff in Kamigawa, and we're stamping out the stuff in Zendikar. But story wise, guys, this is not gonna happen. Honestly, I wish it would. It should. What plane would the Phyrexians have the hardest time invading? Innistrad. I think the Phyrexian. I think Innistrad is our path to victory. I would love to see story payoff for what Emrakul did. What if Emrakul saw this coming and set herself aside for this battle? Just picture that fight, that the Phyrexians invading, and all of a sudden we're just like, yeah, let her out, and Emrakul is released. That would be really cool. It'll never happen in a million years, but it'd be great story payoff for something that happened. Maybe Emrakul defeats them, but she dies in the process. Or she's weakened enough to be killed. What if they just let her loose on New Phyrexia and she devours the plane? That's a good way to stop the Phyrexians, unless I don't as like creatures of the blind eternities, I doubt they would be susceptible to glistening oil. So I'm like, I don't think Eldrazi could be beaten by Phyrexian. We're on it. That is a topic for another day. But if they are susceptible to glistening oil, where are my Phyrexian Eldrazi? It would be a nightmare. Of course, that'll wrap up that arc, that 4-set arc where we're dealing with the Phyrexians. We'll see the Phyrexians finally fall, and that story set to the side again. I don't know if they'll kill them completely, but they'll probably imprison them. Of course, we go back to the wilds of Eldraine for a nice fairy tale set. And of course, Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We're going back to Ixalan because it really changed with Planeswalkers. Honestly, I'm excited to do this arc. This arc's going to be a lot of fun, and I think there's going to be a lot of good cards coming out of it. I think there's also a chance to reprint stuff from like New Phyrexia, cards that you wouldn't normally be able to reprint, and we get to see some change. We get to see if these Phyrexians hold to the ideals of Phyresis that Yawgmoth held to, or if they are not bound by the Father of Machines vision, and they fully believe Elish Norn is the new Mother of Machines, and that they are truly perfect in their completion. Whereas, like, old Phyrexia, the Phyresis was continual evolution was the idea. And I'm not going to harp on this for too long. Continued evolution, like, as they're trying to get better and better and better. And New Phyrexia kind of built on that, where they're like, we saw those adaptations from, like, old Phyrexian designs. We saw, like, the Phyrexian Negator become the Phyrexian Obliterator. Better and better. It'll also be interesting to see how various groups deal with this. Honestly, this is just all my like crackpot theories, and I know like crackpot theories. No, no one wants to hear crackpot theories, but I think it'd be interesting. Okay, so we are actually just going to take a brief look at some of the stuff that's releasing out of Dominaria. Nothing major. It's not going to be the full set reveal with a bunch of cards. It's just the stuff they kind of brought out when they talked about in their release where they showed off some cards. I'm just going to talk about some of those cards. Okay, so first of all, you have a Johnny Sleeper Agent. He has been completed. Phyrexian mana and all. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, put it on the bottom. Meh, +1 for 4. Distribute 3 1/1 counters up to 3 creatures. They gain vigilance until end of turn. Meh, -3. You get an emblem whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker spell. Target opponent gets 2 poison counters. Okay, that is a game-ending ult because you're like, yeah, you all get poison counters now. Have fun with that. And then of course, like they've showed off Jaya Fiery Negotiator before. 1/1 secrets a 1/1 with Monk. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Choose target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. Get an emblem. Whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then one of the bigger cards that's coming out of here is Liliana of the Veil. We've seen her before. It's just a reprint. I can't believe she's getting reprinted, especially in a main set. You'd think this reprint comes in a master set. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this because this is thematic for a little bit. That's why I'm like, I'll get to it later. Not perfectly later, but I'll get to it right. Actually, I'm getting to it right now. We're gonna be talking more about this, but they didn't show this off in there, but it's been revealed since. Karn, Living Legacy. +1, create a tapped Power Stone token. It taps for 1 colorless. It can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. Karn's manufacturing Power Stones. Very, very Yawgmothian to that. Pay any mana, look at that many cards in your library, put one of them into your hand, rest on the bottom. That is a 5,000. Get an emblem, tap an untapped artifact you control. This emblem deals 1 damage to any target. Use a colorless planeswalker for 4. Yeah, that's not anything big. They showed off a Phyrexian Sphinx, which has some cool design to it, which has a really cool design to it. The Filer of Dreams. As an additional cost to cast blue permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. The spells cost 1 blue less to cast if you paid life this way. It reduces only the amount of blue mana spent to spend it. Whenever you cast a blue permanent spell, draw a card. They show that off. That is a cool Sphinx. The art design's really nice there. Card's not that good. I feel like that ability essentially turns one of the colors into a Phyrexian color. I mean, that's fine. That is fine. And I think that's going to be a cycle. I've got a good feeling that's going to be a cycle for this entire set. These turning to Phyrexian mana. Okay, and then of course they showed off Shieldred, the Apocalypse. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Yeah. Yeah. Draw a card, you gain 2 life. That can get very broken very fast. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. That can also get very broken very fast. Nick, our decks. You have a new toy. Enjoy. There's a ton in this set, and I'm not going to be able to get to it all. We'll do a full set analysis later and talk about the set and what we think about it. I'm just going through a few things in here that were kind of revealed in there. I don't know if it was probably talked about later, but we lose the Weatherlight. We show the completed Weatherlight. So, that'll be fun. Honestly, this set is going to be a lot of fun. I think Magic is in for a great next year with these next 4 sets. We see how Brothers War is going to ramp it up into Phyrexia, into March of the Machine, and then in the aftermath, we'll see the multiverse mending from this. It'll be a lot of fun stuff. And everybody's really excited to see the Phyrexians back. They're the great antagonist of Magic, and we finally get to see them. Finally see what happened in Meriden come to its full come to its logical end. We finally get to see Meriden finally get justice. I think we lose Meriden, but we gain everything else. Honestly, I don't have a lot more to talk about. I think the Magic releases for the next year are going to be a blast. And I look forward to seeing everybody play them and the new cards getting played, all of the new artifacts and artifact decks. You're in for a joyous ride. Oh, Infect decks. You are also in for a joyous ride. It'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you guys at the table. That's all we've got for this week. If you enjoy our podcast, of course, subscribe. I know we're posting videos of this on YouTube now. We put some gaming stuff behind it, and we play the episode. So subscribe, comment. Also, follow us wherever you're getting your podcast. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And of course, follow us and like us on any of our social medias if you find them. We post some gaming stuff, and of course check out Twitch. I stream weekly Saturday mornings. If you're not busy when you're drinking your coffee or anything like that, hop in. I'm doing a playthrough of Shadow of War, so check it out. I'm your host Isaiah. Thank you guys for listening. I'm logging out.